Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video we're going to look at the basics of Pygame. Now that hopefully we have it installed, we're going to launch it, create a display window and do some customizations. This is a little bit of a departure from where we've been so far. Pygame is more graphical in nature, so we're going to look at the structure of a Pygame so we can understand the basic elements, and that'll help us moving forward. We imported Pygame into the last video, and that's necessary to run the Pygame. We also need to import sys. Sys is system, and that's a module that we need to interact with the system. So the key reason for importing sys so far for us would be to be able to exit the game. So when you hit the X at the top of a window, that's the system interacting with the window, and we need that so we can do that. So the next thing we need to do is initialize Pygame, and that's very simple. It's Pygame init. These commands are specific to Pygame, but the good news is that, as you see, a lot of them are in the context. So when you type Pygame and hit the period, it gives you a menu, and you can, sometimes figure it out from there. But this is necessary in all Pygames to start the game. So the next thing we absolutely need is the display. We need to set the size of the window that our game is going to play. So to do that, we use the display set mode. So let me go through this. First of all, the my display that I have here is my variable. This could have been called anything. I did it in caps because constants in Python protocol are always are preferred to be in all capital letters. So a constant means that the variable is not going to change, that whatever we set this mode at that's what it's going to be for the game. So to get to display mode, again, it's context sensitive. When you hit the period after Pygame, you'll see the display, and then you do it again, you'll see set mode. The key thing to note here is, well, two things. First of all, this is the size of the window that I chose based on my computer. Yours may be different, but you could also do 600 by 400 if you want to start there, and that's the basic, and you'll see what size your monitor is. The other thing to note is that this is in a tuple. Now, if you remember from lesson 4, a tuple is a set of values very similar to a list, but one key difference: a tuple is immutable. So the values in a tuple cannot change. So this is why, if we go back to my display, is a constant, because these values are not going to change during the course of the game. But it's very important to put it in a tuple and not just directly in these set mode brackets. If you do that, it will not work. Right now we have enough to make a display for a window on Pygame. But of course there's a problem. But let me run this to show you what the problem is, and it will make it clearer what we have to do in the next step. So if we run this, we will get our window, but as you see, it loaded and then disappeared instantly. Problem is, it ran the code and it set the mode 1200 by 800, and then that was it. So what we need to do to have this continuously show on our screen is we need to create a while loop. While loops are discussed in 1.7 of my basic tutorial, but they're basically used to run code that continuously executes until some condition change. So it's used to create a continuous loop. So we'll type while true, which is an infinite loop, because we have nothing here to make it not true. So this is always going to run. And the command that we want to display, it's called flip. So let's run through that. Display flip. And this is a function that flips the screen or refreshes the screen. So now when we run this, we should have a window that's constant, that remains on the screen. So there we have it. It's a very useless game at this point, but the surface area here is where the game is going to happen. These are where the icons are going to be put. This is where all the action is going to take place. The problem with this is that there's no way to exit the game. We didn't put the command to tie it to the system to quit. There's no title bar on the window. The color is not great. So we need to do more, but this is the basic element of a window. So the only way we can quit this game now is to press the PyCharm stop function, which is the red box on the right. And you can see it gives errors and stuff. But this is the very basic, the very minimum that you need to put a screen on the desktop. So now that we're at ground zero of Pygame, let's build upon this to add more features. So the first thing we need is to create an event. And as I mentioned in the beginning, the Pygame programming is more event driven. So the first one we're going to do is create a quit event so that we don't have to exit out of the program. In PyCharm itself, we can exit out of the window by hitting the X on the window like we would in any application. So we create a for loop here, and an event is in Pygame is an event. It's when something happens. So we create for event in Pygame event. So this is the Pygame event get. So go and get us an event. So any event such as a mouse or a keyboard, anything like any action like that is considered an event in Pygame. So if the event equal to Pygame quit, meaning that if the user tries to quit, then we will quit the game. So you'll see the difference when I run this, what this command makes. And this is what you'll need in any game. So if we run this, we still have a screen. It's changed colors for some reason, but that's okay. Now the difference is that the screen doesn't hang up and we can close it by hitting the X button. So now at least you have a real window that you can close. We still have the error message, but we'll fix that shortly. I'm going to stop here for this video. In the next video, we'll look at the Pygame coloring scheme and how to add titles to your display window. If you have any questions about any of this, please put them in the comments and I'll respond as quickly as possible. If you want the code, you can go to my website at pythonforadultsandkids.com. And thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.